Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, November the 21st, 2024. Uh, you know, Interesting developments. We have Alexis not telling Drew and Jason that they were going to be meeting with her together. Um, when Jason walked in, Drew said, "What are you doing here?" And Jason looked at him and said, "Asked Alexis." And Alexis looked, she goes, "Look, I hate all the sorry for the subterfuge, but if either one of you knew the other was coming, I'm sure you wouldn't have come. And this is important." And Drew says, "Can't you just tell Jason and then tell me? We don't have to hear it together." And Drew's starting to leave. And Jason said, "If you loved my daughter, you'll stay because this is important. It's about Scout and Danny." So Jason says, "I'm listening." He said it before Drew, and Drew just looks at him. Drew. So she goes, "But first of all, what happened to your face?" And then she looked at Jason. She goes, "And I see you have a bruise too. So look, let's get into what we're here for." But she does double back because she the mama, right? So she said it's about Sam's will. She gives Drew a copy, Jason a copy. Drew is fine with what the will says, right? 100 because said both kids would be with him. And Jason looked at it, he goes, for one thing, this will is dated when Sam thought I was dead. And Alexa says, "Yes. And I do know you and Sam, have made peace with each other, but Sam still always had concerns about the safety of Danny and your lifestyle." And she says, and Sam was adamant that Scout and Danny stay together. So Jason says, "Okay, and when I she found out I was alive, why didn't she change the will?" And Alexis says, "Who thought this would happen?" And I'm thinking, well, that's what a will is for. She sure made one before, right? But I can understand. You don't always think, I got these little zipper things here. You don't always think of updating a will. You just, although you're going into some surgery, you might think of updating a will. But anyway, it's supposed to have been a minor surgery. So Jason says, Alexis says, "Bottom line, that was Sam's wishes." And Jason says, "Danny is old enough to decide where he wants to live." And he says, as Danny's father, Jason stood up. He says, "I will fight for my kid and what my kid wants." And but before he said that, that's when Alexa says, "I'm gonna double back to what happened between the two of you. And by both your silence, that speaks volumes. Obviously, you were in a fight together. I'm gonna ask, what was the fight about?" And he goes, "And do the kids know?" Drew said, "Well, I told Scout I walked into a door." And Alexis looked at him and said, "Did she buy it?" you know? And he goes, "I think she did. I don't know about the Rocco, the older boys." And Jason just looked at him because he know Daddy didn't buy that. And so Alexis says, "See, you all got to do better." It's almost the same thing Danny said, "Did the kid, first before, what did you tell her?" She goes, "Did the kid see your bruises?" Right? And so she goes, "What caused, What was what provoked the fight? And he goes, and did Danny ask you, Jason, why you attacked Drew or was fighting with Drew? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, she says, what did you tell him? Because I want to know. Why were you and Drew fighting? He goes, I told my kid the truth. I'm not going to lie. I don't lie. So Drew looked at Jason like, what you tell him? My camera's lagging here. And Jason said, and he goes, and I'm going to tell you, Alexis, what I told Danny. What happened between Drew and I is between Drew and I and nobody else. And Drew looked like, okay, good. See, no, Drew don't deserve no favors. He's like, right? And then that's when Jason said, Danny is old enough. And as Danny's father, I'm going to fight for my kid for his wishes. He decides where he wants to stay. So Jason leaves, and Drew is trying to, Danny don't need to be living with Jason. Oh, he's just working it, telling Alexis we need to work together. Because Alexis point blank told Jason, you are Danny's biological father, and you really have all the rights. I'm surprised she told him that. But you know what? Her best friend is Diane. And she knows Diane would be Jason's attorney. Diane would definitely tell him. Okay. So Alexis says, listen, I know Jason will pose a problem with Danny living with you. But my thing is, like Drew said, I'm at the Quartermains. Scout will be there. I mean, they will be living at the Quartermains. My thing is, you don't get guardianship of my son, but my son can stay at the Quartermains where his sister lives. That's how I would play that. I would never give my parental rights to Drew Kane. Never. Right? So Alexis says, I've got a solution that I feel will work. And it'll keep Danny and Scout together. And Drew says, well, what is it? I feel they should come live with me. Drew looked at her. He says, Alexis, I know you love them, but as Scout's father, she's not going to live with anyone other than me. And Alexis just looked at him. See, she thought Drew would be the one that would give her way. Now, Drew's supposed to be leaving for Washington, D.C. See, we haven't discussed the fact. You saying you living at the Q's, but that's for this minute. That's for this month. When are you supposed to be going to Washington? And what does that mean for your daughter? Right? Mr. Politician? There's no way Jason would let Danny go to Washington, nor would Danny want to go to Washington. So anyway, we'll see where that goes. But Alexis was a little like taken aback with Drew, just a point blank, almost said that's a H no. Right? No. So anyway, Jason goes to see Sonny, but before Jason sees Sonny, Sonny made dinner for Christina, and he's just always telling her how great she is, and she's good with numbers. She's good. Christina ain't good with no numbers. I haven't seen, yeah, she finally got her center up and running, but we don't hear nothing else about that. Period. Right? She let them oust her, which I don't really know how she could have, because it's hers. It's her nonprofit. I'd walk right back in there and say, okay, well, she's still grieving. But next year, I'd say, you know what? We've moved past the incident and I'm not pregnant anymore. So This is mine and I'm taking it back. I would take it back. He wants her to come. Sonny offered her a job working for him at Corinthos Coffee. He goes, you do well there. And I'm like, well, Jason is running Corinthos Coffee. And I can't see Christina working in that warehouse. Why would she want to? No, her daddy needs to buy her something else to do. There's been too many shootings in that warehouse. No. So now we have so she says she'll think about it. She'll think about it. And then Jason came to see Sonny. And Sonny's just the go-to for everybody, giving advice to everybody. And he tells him about Sam's will and how she left, wants Danny to be with Drew. And Sonny says, what, huh? Right? And so Jason says, yeah, and I'm not about to have that, right? And so he goes, okay, um, I can understand her wanting the kids to be together, but Drew, right? And so Jason says, custody, but he goes, no, look, let's get Diane on it. That will was, you would presume dead when that will was done. No, no, no. Diane will have that thing nullified so fast. And Jason says, no, I know. But Sonny, my thing is, what do I do? I mean, like, what's the right choice? You've dealt with things like this. I feel Danny's old enough to make his own choice. And Sonny ultimately says, well, and he is. However, you're his father. And what do you envision, you know, for him? Because he's your family. And don't ever, I would not give up my my rights to my son, especially to Drew Kane. Because Jason said, no, what would you do? And he told him, mm-mm. And I'm thinking, well, you're saying that now, Sonny. But when Carly was married to Jax, you sure did. Well, that is a little bit different. Carly wasn't dead. But Jax was the one that sent Morgan to military school, you know, to keep him away from his own father. So anyway, that's going to be it. Jason is going to let Danny make his own choice, and Danny is going to say he wants to stay at the Quartermains with his sister. Now, Drew is going to have to understand that his daughter needs to be there too. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Chasen was talking. Chase went over to the penthouse. Dante was gathering things. He said, I'm gathering, some of the kids' stuff to take to the Quartermain's house. And Chase was trying to convince him to just stay there with Rocco. He goes, the place is big enough. He says, I mean, that way the kids could be together. And you could, it's like you are their stepfather, you could oversee them. And Dante said, I did end up falling into that role. He says, but Scout and Danny both have fathers. And I could not interject anything into the decisions they're making for their kids. He said, because I wouldn't appreciate it if some other person, man, tried to tell me what to do with Rocco. So I'm letting them work things out. And I don't necessarily, he said, one of the reasons I want to leave is I don't want Rocco to be around the tense situation with Jason and Drew. And I'm like, well, it's not that tense. It's only tense because of Drew's actions. Jason is pissed off that he slept with Willow. Now, before that, Jason didn't give a hot doggone about Drew, but Drew always had a chip on his shoulder about Jason. See, Jason is the man he thought he was and the man he wish he was, and he ain't. So now, uh, Chase kind of convinced, Dante not to make rash moves. Okay, man, look, let's come back to the house, what she was gonna do anyway. And Chase is like, I'm gonna see you at home. And Dante's like, I see what you did with that man. He says, no. He goes, I'm gonna tell you. Willow, Brooklyn and I first moved into the Quartermains for Violet, right? And now that Violet is gone, he said, we're still there because I actually like it. He says, Quartermain antics and all. He says, my family is gone. Chase and Violet are way across the country. You know, he said, I'm never alone. He goes, I like having the people around me. He says, and we would love having you and Rocco there. Your mother is there. So Dante says, you've given me something to think about, which is good. And I'm hoping that that happens. You know, it's going to be Hotel Quartermain. Michael's going to end up moving back in there. No, Drew is there right now. So but Michael came in to see Sasha. He wanted a snack. And so she was doing dough for pastries for the kids, right? So, ooh, sorry, y'all, I'm sleepy, tired. Um, so she goes, what do you have a taste for? And he's like, you know what? I don't know. She goes, I haven't been seeing you at dinner lately. He goes, no, I haven't been in the mood to come to like big dinner. And she says, I can heat you up something. And he looked, he goes, you know what? I'm not even really hungry. She says, okay, Michael, then what are you doing here? What's going on with you? So they sit down, and he ends up telling her that Drew and Willow slept together, right? And he says, she says, wait, no, 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 wait, huh? you know, something, because first she's like, something else happened. He goes, yeah, they slept together. Do they? She goes, are you sure? He goes, oh, I'm sure. How do you know? And he didn't tell her. See, he still haven't told people there's a nanny cam and they're good. Don't that's your little secret. So then she goes, have you told them? He said, no, they don't know. She said, why, Michael? And he said, if I confront Willow and I tell her I know, then I'm going to have to tell her that I slept with someone. Or he may have even said that we slept together. And Sasha looked, he goes, but I'm not going to say it was you, Sasha. Because I'm going to leave your name out of it. She goes, good, because I need this job. And he goes, uh, your job would have nothing to do with anything. And I'm thinking, Michael, you're naive. Yes, it would. Because at that point, Drew and Willow hadn't slept together, and whatever. It'd be a hot mess. Okay. So he says, no, if I confront Willow, oh, I'm going to say I slept with someone because I was so hurt about the kiss, but then you assured me you wanted my family, our family, and then this is what you do. So he goes, and I don't know if I'm ready for everything to be over. He said, but I can't stand to be under the same roof with her. He goes, Willow, put the kids to bed, and then, oh, she went to bed early. He's like, and that's fine with me, but it's just, this is what my life has become. And he's just like a little hot mess, depressed, right? Um, Jordan comes to see TJ. She brings him dinner and they talk, have a good mother son talk. Same old, same old. He told her he forgot Molly's birthday. Because me and Alexis have something in common that I wish we didn't. She goes, what? We both forgot Molly's birthday. She goes, ooh. Well, there was a lot going on. He goes, Mom, I've never forgotten my partner's birthday ever. And he goes, and I knew it was coming. I had the gift, but I had the gift put away. And the day came and went, and I never thought about it, that it was her birthday. And he goes, and actually, Mom, had I not arrived at Alexis's before the funeral and heard her father say, happy birthday, Molly, I don't know when I would have remembered. She goes, ooh. She goes, how did Molly take it? Molly said it's fine, it's okay with everything going on. She goes, yeah, and that's exactly what Molly would say. He goes, I wish she would get mad, she'd get upset, but no, it's just like, he goes, I don't know if anything phases her regarding us. He goes, we just, come on, they're going to separate. They're going to separate real soon. And then Jordan kind of toyed with the fact that she's got a new man in her life. Her little eyes were sparkling. And he goes, okay, who is this man? And she goes, I'll tell you when I know a little bit more. And I'm like, see, Isaiah and Molly are going to end up getting closer. Because she hasn't told him that she and TJ are partners. She hasn't. So he won't have the connection between Molly and TJ and then Jordan and TJ and Molly. Oh, that's going to be a hot mess. And I hate it because there's no reason for that to be a hot mess, but it's going to be a hot mess. And last but not least, they had Trina. Oh, I fast forwarded the whole thing. Her complaining that Kai wasn't there. They're supposed to be working on an assignment. She complaining that blah, 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 just the whole nine. He late. And Jocelyn's like, it's not even time for your appointment. But he was at the gym with Dex sparring. So he was a little late. But anyway, they ended up kind of working it out and getting their assignment. He's got a lot of books to read. He's supposed to be so conscientious when in real life that doggone thing wouldn't happen that way. So anyway, that is about it. Nothing else happened. I'm looking. Nope, nothing else happened. So let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. Yesterday I said I was going from the top up, but somehow my mouse is acting up, and it still is. Let me get my secondary mouse. When I was scrolling all the way to the bottom, it was only in the middle. So I ended up going from the middle up. So this time I truly am at the bottom. I'm going to start from the bottom up today. Let me do my trusty dusty stopwatch. Here we go. All right. Oh, it's not the stopwatch. There we go. All right, the first comment is from Miss Cheryl. Okay, the other day when Alexis went to the office, that file was shown on the desk. What, Sam, you mean Sam's will? And then LRT Production says maybe it was her updated will and Dante has it. That's interesting. Because Dante and Chase did talk about a will, and he made a will that if anything would happen, he and Sam talked about things. That he says if anything happened to him, he would want her to raise Rocco with Scout and Danny. I'll bet you're right that there is an updated will. Dante may have a copy of it because Alexis just found the one thing in that box. That would be great. No, 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 no. Because one thing Dante did not say is Sam wanted me to keep Danny and Scout. He did not say that. And if he had a will, he would have said, and she revised her will. She wanted me to look after Danny and Scout. So we shall see with the will situation. Topsy Turvy says if Sam knew Drew slept with Willow, there's no way she would give Drew those kids. The guy is a creep now. Monique says, I can see Alexis pulling a Jake card like she did with Jason when he first came back from the dead, saying, let another raise your child because your dangerous lifestyle. Why not give Danny the same courtesy? And then I am says, this is why I can't stand Alexis. Me either. Lena says, irrelevant that Danny is Jason's. Diane, wait, irrelevant with Diane as Jason's attorney. Yes, LOL. Diane's gonna fix everything. P. Merle says, can Rick get any more slimy? He knew he shouldn't have taken Ava's case in the first place. Now he's going to use two sisters against each other. Of course he is. Christina and Molly's relationship are already beyond repair. So, you know what, in that case, who cares? But it is two sisters. This is Molly's revenge. How could she ever agree to do this? OMG, heaven help us. No, she's not agreeing. Molly is testifying, but she's not going to be testifying for Ava. We'll see. Watch. Lynn says hi. Hi, Lynn. Miss Cheryl says Danny is old enough to speak to the judge. Scout isn't. Yep. And then Wendy says, I don't think Drew is really interested in being a full-time dad. He is not, and he never has been. He's too busy chasing other men's wives. That is so, so true. And then Tanya says, if Sam knew all what Drew's been doing, she would never want Danny with him. The will is not legally binding, but holds weight if challenged. Yet, I think they should compromise and settle on the Quartermain's property, not necessarily in the main house. That's true. They could build another house on there. I don't think uh, it will satisfy Alexis. She is going to want both kids with her, with the limited contact for Jason. Um, it would get ugly. She was telling Drew, now look, if you do get Danny, Jason has full access to his son. She did say that, right? But that's not going to happen. There's just no way. And bottom line, wills do hold up. And in the case to where Sam did write this will, Danny's father was presumed dead. She was the only parent. She could say something like that. She wasn't even in a relationship with Dante. But Danny's father came back. So no, that will is not going to hold an ounce of water. Lucy says, hi, Daily Recap Lady, General Hospital fans. Another superb recap. Comment corner, comment corner. Thank you, Lucy. Tanya says, as for the autopsy result, digitalis is something. Uh-oh, getting a little dry throat here. Digitalis is something for people with heart problems. In healthy hearts, it can cause an accident. Oh, I see. In 2009, Edward Quartermain was given digitalis, which caused him to have a car crash. Wow. Through the hospital carnival. Yikes. Robin figured out that he was poisoned. Oh my goodness. And then Denzel says, you really telling me that Sam drew up a will, made Longneck Drew sole a legal guardian for both Danny and Scout? Nah, Alexis has a valid point too, because if Sam drew that, was before Jason came back from the dead, and that uh, is old to man, and that's it, old to man. I understand that Alexis promised Sam's wishes, and all but Jason has a right to. I have to fight it because Longneck Drew is creepy. Yes, he is. Um, he isn't fit to raise a child, in my opinion. But Molly has a valid point. What if Sam purposely drew up the will? Well, she did. She thought Jason was dead. Or Danny's father was dead, because otherwise she would know she can't. Her wills does not strip a father's rights. If it was old or not, Alexis needs to check up on that ASAP. Well, old or not, Jason was presumed dead. That's like, remember, his bank accounts were frozen. Well, no, Drew was spending his money because Drew thought he was him. Every ounce of money Drew had, it was Jason's money. Aurora was bought with Jason's money. So guess what? I'm not dead. But yeah, this will all end up a custody battle between Jason and Longneck Drew to see who's gonna raise Danny and Scout. Plus, knowing Danny, he's gonna choose to live with his dad since he's a teenager and can make his own decisions. No, I think he's going to choose to stay with his sister, but he's going to stay here at the Quartermains. I want to live with his dad, Jason, point blank. We'll see. We shall see. I honestly don't think so. Um, he'll say before Drew takes me out of the state. Yeah. Michelle says I wouldn't put crap past Alexis to change Sam's will. No, Molly's seen the will because we all know that she hates Jason's lifestyle, and they think that long neck creepy Drew, everybody calls him that, is a saint. But did Sam talk to Diane when she was in the hospital? We shall see. We shall see. Topsy Turvy says, I believe that it was an old will. Yep. Sam fell in love with Dante and their blended families. The new will probably says the kids stay with Dante's. I think that is just going to be an old will because Diane wasn't even there when Alexis got the will. So Bernice says there is wait a minute. There is the will that was, I guess there was a will on Diane's desk. Okay. Lori says Diane probably has it in her briefcase. I bet it's an updated version of her will. Now that would be good to see. I would love that. I would love for them to say, nope, there is a new, a better, or an updated version of the will. And last comment is from Don. Don says, Lulu was in a coma for 4 years, just had her side split open, and yes, she was able to get out of bed, shaking my head. Even Nina was in a wheelchair uh, for a minute when she woke up after her coma. And Trejor says, for medical professionals out there, how quick does digitalis cause heart failure when it is administered? Ooh, yikes! I know, I don't know. So that's a good question. All right, everybody, that's it for Comic Corner. Comic Corner. I will be back for Cliffhanger Friday, and hopefully they're going to have a cliffhanger for Friday. Please make sure if you have TikTok, follow me on TikTok at Grandma's Gadgets or Daily, or actually not or, and Daily Recap Lady.